Oh, do we have something amazing to have a quick look at here, folks. Saber aims to push the ESRB rating for Hellraiser Revival as far as we possibly can. I'm all for this. This is one of the games I have been waiting for a long time. Saber Interactive and Boss Team Games plan to push the envelope with the upcoming Hellraiser Revival. During an interview with IGN, Saber development chief Tim Willits stated that the team plans to push the game as far as the rating will let them. We are going to go as far as we possibly can, as far as the people that make rules will let us go. And I hope that we can make one version, but we are willing to go as far as we possibly can. You know what? With Hellraiser, you can't really have a Hellraiser video game, movie, anything really, even if it's like a graphic novel, a comic book, or whatever. You do need to have the ultra violence in it. You just do. Because that is what these people do. This is what they do to people. And when you see them and it's just like, oh, a little speck of blood. Oh, yeah, that's violent. No. That's one thing I kind of got a little bit upset with the Hellraiser reboot. Because I love the film, but I'm pretty sure it could have used a lot more blood and guts. It really could have. Because when you see what the original two movies were at first, which just the dark and the gruesome and the special effects and, just all made physical was amazing. When Uncle Frank comes back, that is still burned in my retinas from when I was a kid. That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I saw it on Channel 4. I shouldn't have been up that late, but I was watching it. And when he comes up, I was like, oh my god, what the hell is this? That's how good it was. And seeing how we can go further and how practical effects are now coming back in, we need the hardcore ultra violence for this game, which by the looks of things we are going to be getting. But it does go on to state that, for those wondering, Saber will not be aiming for an adults only rating. A game cannot be sold on certain platforms and at retailers if it's released unrated or rated adults only. Which is kind of stupid really, because obviously a lot of people, when they see adults only and all this, straight away they thinking like, oh, it's an adult dirty movie. That's what they think it is. And again, that's going back to when, it wasn't an NC-17 or whatever, it was the X rating. And in the 60s and the 70s, when movies got labeled X-rated, a lot of people were like, I'm not showing that. That's adult stuff. That's dirty movies. Which it's not, because you had Midnight Cowboy, Clockwork Orange, all these type of films where they push the boundaries. But they only pushed them because actually no. These things happen in real life. The violence, the horribleness and all the crime that people do. This is what it is. And seeing that, then the adult movie industry said, oh, we're XXX, even worse. Oh, it's 3 times harder than a normal X rating and all that nonsense. And then you go, oh, we're not showing that either. NC-17 came in the early 90s, which you had Showgirls, you had Basic Instinct, you had The Dreamers, the French movie in the early 2000s. Was it the early 2000s? I think it may have been. But you had all of these kind of films, and again, people were just labeling them as, oh, they're dirty movies, just because they've been labeled as NC-17 or an X rating. And it's sad, because when you get a video game, and if it's unrated or adults only for violence, that's going to make a lot of people go, oh, I want to play that. That will. As mentioned, when the game was initially revealed back in July, Hellraiser creator Clive Barker has been involved with the development of it and has guided the devs on what would work and what wouldn't in the context of the Hellraiser universe. He's come back and said, yes, Pinhead wouldn't do that. And he's come back and said, yeah, you got to tweak this a little bit, because this is Clive's world and he knows stuff that we don't even think about. Well, yeah, it's his. He created it. It's his universe. Then he goes on to say that he's been really fast too. Sometimes when you work with famous people, you throw something over and then 6 months later they come back and they complain about something. No, he's not like that. Which, it's his baby, Hellraiser is the one that made him get noticed by the mainstream. And he wants to keep it going, he really does. And obviously with this now, we're at a stage where a Hellraiser video game, well, just a horror video game this day and age of a very famous IP, is not being an asymmetrical multiplayer game. With Hellraiser Revival being single player, this is what's gotten the horror community, the Hellraiser community, hell, even just horror video games community, just, oh my god, we are finally getting a story-driven game regarding a very famous horror IP. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, we've seen these, Killer Clowns, Friday the 13th. We didn't have any single-player games. Predator, Hunting Grounds, multiplayer. Everything just seems to be, ooh, we can do what Dead by Daylight's doing. No, you can't do that. But with this, being a single player and it's got a very strong story behind it, everyone straight away is like, I'm buying it day one, which is absolutely incredible. So, in Hellraiser Revival, players assume the role of Aiden, who must unlock the dark powers of a mysterious puzzle box known as the Genesis configuration, in order to help his girlfriend from a hellish abyss. You'll harness the box's infernal abilities to survive your pact with the sinister Pinhead, again voiced by Doug Bradley, who is returning to the character. Cannot wait. And battle against the twisted cult that worships him and the Cenobites. And as you can see, it does state, this new story-driven single-player game is currently in development for PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series. I cannot wait, I really can't. And seeing how Clive Barker is so involved, coming back with all this information. Right, we need to do it like this. You know, the Lamont configuration has to be in somewhere. You know, obviously now we've got the Genesis configuration. You're going to have Leviathan. You're going to have going into their own abyss. I cannot wait. This game is just, oh, I want it right now. I want it now. But we're not going to be getting it until next year, folks. So let us know down below what you think about this. And if you are new around here, my name is Dan, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.